All right, you're on.
Alright, hello Drawing 2. This is your 7th assignment. This is the one after your dreamscape. This is Tony, and we'll be doing this, I think, until the end of the semester, unless the college lets me know otherwise. I have some housekeeping for you. Your weekly drawings, your Bob Boats Bell drawings in the small sketchbook, don't need to do them. I hope you will continue, but I'm not going to ask you to turn them in. We're not going to do points from. You're just going to automatically get your points for that. The student show has been canceled. I have not heard from Ann. Unless some of you aren't clubbers, know otherwise, please let me know. You're going to turn in your work to Schoology, to the class, what?
Email Dropbox.
Email Dropbox. Okay. And your portfolio. I don't know what we're going to do about the portfolio. If you have some suggestions, let me know. We're still working on that. We're going to, I don't know what we're going to do about the critiques either. We'll see if we can set up a chat room, see if we can get a thread going where people get to comment on the different drawings that are put up. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about collage. I have some examples here for you. This is student work from a long time ago. It is done on a piece of masonite, and it is painted. It is collaged with wet paper towel, and then it has ink over the top, and then more paint. Okay, so this is string here, and this one is a hot desert. Makes me thirsty already. This is one that I did. I totally painted the background to be like an undersea thing, and then I used all these old computer mice and treated them like jellyfish with the tentacles hanging down. This is broken pottery for the bottom. Okay, that is just totally painted and then glued. This one is on canvas, and it is all paper, newspaper, handmade paper, tissue paper, foil pieces, string, larger pieces of paper, more string. Okay, I did not cut very many pieces for this. Most of it was torn. Okay, what I want you to do is come up with an idea. I think landscape is probably the easiest, but if you have a better idea, that's okay with me. You're going to create your own collage using different materials. Seashells, rocks, tissue paper, notebook paper, newspaper. I've got some examples here to show you. If you'll follow me around, we'll take a look at some of the stuff we've got. Okay, this is handmade paper. This is paper that has been marbled. This is plain old computer paper that's colored. This is scrapbook paper that I've cut. Here's some newspaper that was used as a drop cloth to another project. And this one's kind of unique. This is a Japanese or Chinese, who knows, I can't read it, newspaper. Oh, the blind's too much light. Tone the light down. Is that better? Okay. Some more scrapbook paper. I've got some aquarium marbles. I've got pieces of abalone shell, some straws, gold cord, regular string, yarn, Okay, so I have collected a lot of these different things, and I have planned on using them on my project. Can you see the project? Can you tilt down? Okay, this is what I have so far, but I'm going to take this off so you can see how we started. This is a canvas board. It is 11 by 14. I drew my sketch, so I kind of know the major areas where I wanted my colors to go. And then I started selecting the different colors that are going to go into here. Some of the tools you're going to need is this is wood glue. I like it better than Elmer's because it's thicker. You're going to need some scissors, tweezers, I've got a palette knife, I've got some toothpicks and some popsicle sticks. Okay, so I'm going to add some glue to my board, and this glue is really nice because you can smear it all over without getting it too terribly thick by using a little bit of water to get it to cover your board. When I'm gluing paper on, I use glue. When I'm gluing the heavier pieces on, like the shells or the rocks, I use modeling paste. Modeling paste it holds stiff peaks, it adheres to the canvas, and it adheres to the item that you're gluing. And now we know what aprons are good for. Okay, I have pre-torn this. Sometimes I use a whole sheet. Sometimes I take and tear it into pieces like the sunset up there. Got a little bit of gaposis over here. And I can see where I have places that it's not sticking. Okay. Another material that I like to use when I'm doing a collage is a gel. And I'm going to get that right now because I didn't get it out earlier. Help. Okay. I guess we should open that beforehand. Okay, so while he's opening that for me, I'm going to use a little bit of the gel gloss. Well, thank you. This goes on white and it dries clear. So you can see I'm going to add some clouds here. And this does very nicely. Almost better than the glue. I don't have to get my fingers in it. Okay, I think that's where we'll stop with that. I can always add more. Okay, with my mountain here, I'm just going to try this gel gloss here instead of that glue. See how it works. Ooh, that might be a better way to go. I did a lot of my tearing before we started filming. And I do like torn edges better than cut edges. And here's one of the problems with the gel. My paper is wrinkling. But I wanted texture, so guess what? I've got texture.
Keep narrating.
I want this to look like a very vertical mountain with lots of shadows and really rocky. And I do like the straight edge of the paper to help show that that's vertical. If you want to wear gloves with this, that's a good idea, if you can find any. Oh, what a time. There we are. I want this to start working its way down into the other piece. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna come over here and see what I can do. Now I tore this all as one piece, but I'm thinking I don't want it all as one piece, and this paper is pretty heavy, so I think I'm going to add some glue in here. Let's hope the gel and the glue mix. This could be really interesting. I'm adding lighter and darker pieces of the paper so I can get some depth. This is where those tweezers come in handy because I have fat fingers. There we go. Oh, this is where I need more of that glue. Okay, I've got a straight edge there. So I'm either going to cover it or I'm going to tear it. I don't want a straight edge down here where it's in the foreground. There we go. And don't be afraid to wrinkle your paper on purpose to give it a little bit of depth or extra bend, because paper tends to want to tear pretty straight, but I want this to curve. Get rid of that straight edge there. There we go. And notice that I am doing some overlapping, and that's okay too. Now, think about this as you're doing it. When you tear paper one way, you get all solid color. When you tear it another way, you get the white edges. I happen to like the white edges. You may not want white edges. Strictly up to you. Good. I like the white edge better. There we go. That made a difference. Nope, nope, nope. Got a square edge there. Oh well. Okay, now I want to cover in this area pretty well because I'm going to use toothpicks for my trees. And I don't want the canvas color showing through. That'll do great. This is where I'm getting a little particular because I want this to look like it's overlapping. There we go. Now, I am going to add toothpicks to this, but I don't think they're going to stick well with all of this other wet stuff. So I think that's going to have to be like a phase 2. And that's only because it looks like it's getting a little thick here. There's my base. I've got some pretty good wrinkles on this other side, but that's okay. I like wrinkles. The one thing I do is make sure everything's stuck down, because things tend to bubble up, and when they're dry, and in a couple of years, they're brittle. And if they're bubbled up and something gets bumped against it, that brittle bubble bursts, and then you have canvas showing. So you want to kind of work that in. So even though you've got your wrinkles, you have pushed them down so that they're good and glued. That is one of the dangers of using a whole sheet like I did here. Had I done it more like I did my bottom, I wouldn't have this problem. But because I used a whole sheet, I've got that problem. But I liked the color. I liked the texture in the background, and I liked the color, and so I thought, well, I'm going to use that, but we'll see how it works out. Okay, so that we can kind of end this session, I'm going to show you the toothpicks that I'm going to put in here. These are going to be trees. Now, I don't know if I'm going to break them apart. Ooh, I could do that. And glue them that way. I'm not going to do them all exactly, but I think I'll give the hint that these are trees. And then I will take some paint and go over them with some paint later to give them a little bit of a green tinge. And I'm not sure if my paint will cover much of the background here or not. I really like that. There's some more here. I wonder if these would just stick down if I used enough of that gel. That's gel. Let's get out the modeling paste. I'm going to see if they'll just stick down. This is quite a bit heavier. This is brushable. Okay. This, I imagine you could brush it, but it's pretty thick. I'm going to add a little bit of that in here. Now I definitely will have to add a little bit of paint because the modeling paste dries white. So I'm going to put it on in the texture of the trees, so that as I put the toothpicks down, the ridges in the modeling paste add to the ridges I think that'll work. Well, I started out with a brush, but now I'm using fingers. Now I'm going to see if I can get maybe some tops of the trees. The branches of the trees will probably end up being painted in. It's too hard to get the toothpicks to cross over each other. And so when this is dry, I will take my brush and I will darken in the toothpicks a little bit, and I will add my own brush strokes there to the toothpicks to create the texture of the tree limbs. And since modeling paste does do pretty good for texture, I can actually add a little bit of it down here. Except, you know what, it's covering up my color. I don't want it to cover up my color. I like my color there. Here we go. We'll use it as a base for the trees. There you go. That looks pretty good. Okay, this is not done, but it's as far as I'm willing to go right now until it has a chance to dry. So, whether you use fabric, I've got fabric over here, okay, I've got some fake flowers. I would not use the fake flowers in their entirety. I would take them apart, or I would take the leaves apart, and I would use them that way. Two popsicle sticks work pretty good. If you have machine parts, gears, nails, anything you can think of. Oh, bullets, shell casings, yeah. Well, we don't have any guys in this class, so. Maybe guns aren't all guys, huh? All right, I'm going to clean up, and your assignment is to create a collage. Oh, Hannah, stand it up. When I do my next one, I will show this to you again, and maybe we'll take a minute or two to put my paint on and kind of finish it. I can't go any further right now, so that's it for now. All right, so if I were you, I would stay on the small side. Don't get really big. That's a lot of glue. So, unless you're going to paint the background, as I did in this searching, that went pretty easily because the paint went on very nicely. But for gluing this stuff on, this took quite a few hours to get all that glued on and torn the way I wanted it to be. It's still not finished. This one had to be also done in stages because of the wet paper towel. You've seen the good old brown stuff. When you get this wet, it drapes very nicely. Can you see how that might help you create with this being wet and gluing it down? So lots of ideas there, and we'll finish it up next time. Bye.